This rare behind-the-scenes footage is the only known record of the filming of Enter the Dragon.
The picture, it had a very interesting life. It was the first co-production ever done between a Hong Kong film company and an American studio. There have been a number of pictures that had filmed on location in Hong Kong, going all the way back to the 50s, but nobody had ever actually tried to do a co-production. And nobody was quite sure what a co-production meant in Hong Kong terms. We had a Chinese film industry where most people spoke Cantonese or Mandarin, and they made films that were very stylized. So we were all feeling our way as we set up the mechanism for that co-production. It actually turned out quite well, although it was a little bit flying by the seat of our pants as we went. We were making the rules up. We started on the project in October. Preparing, we started shooting in January, and we finished shooting in March. The picture was completed in post-production by the end of June and was released at the end of August. So that was 10 months door to door.
One of the things that Bruce wanted in the clips was as much realism as he possibly could, as we could muster. So when Jim said, when we were ready to go, he said, I'll just give it a bit of a tap, and I said, no, give me your best shot. So he did, and I went down in a heap, and I thought that was the end of it. But then the cameraman said, well, now we'll take another take from the opposite corner and so forth, and there were 6 takes in total. Each time I got 6 of his best shots, so I was a little sore that night.
Bruce Lee's drive for perfection did not just extend to the fight sequences. He saw this film as the ideal vehicle for presenting an accurate view on his martial arts philosophy.
Bruce Lee was actually responding to a frustration that he felt and had shared with us, that writers in Hollywood were writing a lot of, if you will, technobabble about the martial arts that had very little to do with the real world of martial arts or the spirituality of martial arts or what the philosophy that goes hand in hand with learning martial arts. I mean, if you spend time with any serious martial artist, you begin to realize as much time is spent on meditation and concentration and thinking about your body and your place in the universe as is spent on punching bags or breaking bricks. And Bruce felt that as part of what we could accomplish with Enter the Dragon, part of it was to showcase his martial arts skills, but part of it was also to try and educate the public as to what martial arts was really all about. And so he asked that in those scenes where martial arts was being discussed, that we at least try and put it in a proper context.
So when he did Enter the Dragon, he has many a time called in for the discussion of the script. So in a certain way, he contributed as much as anybody that was supposed to be involved, because he wants I think it's the first time he showed the equality of East and West, that you can work together as one team, regardless of the color of skin.
On the 10th of May, 1973, while working in post-production on Enter the Dragon, the first signs appeared of the problems to come for Bruce Lee.
He passed out. He passed out for a half hour, and it scared him to death. Didn't know what the hell it was. And so he came over and had a full examination, and, like the doctors gave him a clean bill of health. And so he was happy. They said it was just fatigue. I guess the doctors couldn't see what was happening.
Rumors and speculation about his death were driven by a ruthless print media, which was happy to feed off the public ignorance of what the official autopsy revealed. In fact, Bruce Lee's death was simply caused by an abnormal hypersensitivity to a prescription painkiller.
God, it stunned me. I had no idea. Sterling called me up, and he said, Bruce is dead. And I said, you're kidding. You're kidding. No, he died. There's something on top of that. And then I thought back that he had this thing that he'd passed out before.
When Bruce died, it was like Hong Kong stopped. Everybody talked about it. Everybody. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without, if you mentioned his name, their head went down. And that was so sad that a lot of people, I think, I was only there a few days after he died. I went to his funeral service and left. And a lot of people didn't want to believe it. They thought it was some kind of publicity stunt, because how can a man of this physical stature just die? You know, he was like 32 years old in his prime and one of the fittest human beings I'd ever come across. And it was almost disbelief, I would say, would be a good word to use for his death. People couldn't believe that he wasn't there anymore.
Enter the Dragon was released 1 month after Bruce Lee's death. It surpassed all box office expectations, grossing over $200 million. But there was still to be one last testament to Bruce Lee's martial arts genius, his unfinished work, The Game of Death.
All right, now listen to me. Listen to my movement, okay? Keep moving, quick, and go. Now, the two motions are both part of one motion. Now, you try. Faster. A little bit smoother. Well, your head and body are still not one.
Well, when will they get together?
Once more!
By 1972, the circumstances of Bruce Lee, the Los Angeles martial arts teacher, had changed dramatically. As Dan Inosanto found out when he traveled to Hong Kong to appear with Lee in The Game of Death.
When I came to visit him, this is for the filming of The Game of Death, he said that because of his status of being very famous, I mean, I've never been with him in a place where there was like 20 to 30, possibly 50 people just crowding around him. So he didn't have any privacy, and he didn't like that part. But he enjoyed having what I call fame. So I think with his newfound status as a movie star, he had definitely some dislikes about it because it invaded his privacy.
When Bruce achieved success in Hong Kong, very quickly they stopped making swordplay movies and started making nothing but martial arts movies. And the truth was, he had a lot of imitators. Everybody was trying to do the Bruce Lee style, which, if you get off into the esoteric side of Jeet Kune Do, Wu Wei Yo Wei, the style that has no style, was Bruce's philosophy, which was to take a little bit from every style of martial arts and every style of fighting. And so he tried to employ that and apply that in each film to make each fight unique and different.
He did write quite a bit of stuff on martial arts, and he developed his own style, and which was very minimalist. It really was. It was a most undemonstrative style of martial arts. And then when you read all this, and then you see Bruce on the screen, and then instead of this very sort of soft, introspective personality, it goes whack. I mean, what he did on the screen was absolutely no relation whatsoever to what he was teaching or studying. But Bruce understood cinema, and he made it look terrific.
When we were preparing The Game of Death, we started, this was a Hong Kong film, so we didn't have the entire script. We had a concept, and we were going to shoot a series of fight sequences that would bring together some of the greatest martial artists of the world, and Bruce would fight them one by one by one, the essence being that by the time he got to the top of this mythical tower, he would have shown that the best style was to have a style that was flexible, and that he would defeat each of these martial artists by understanding and using their inflexibility to defeat them. And it sounded great. except that when you get past the point of, okay, level 1, level 2, level 3, and he's now trouncing each martial artist, there still had to be something that was going to be at the top of the tower. We never came up with what it was that was going to be at the top of the tower. So when we went off to shoot Enter the Dragon, we stopped shooting Game of Death. Bruce looked at me and he said, "Thank God we don't have to solve that problem for 6 months."